Well, hello. Welcome to this week's Sex Clinic and Sexual Health Hub. I'm Matt. It's lovely to be with you this week. So, I have a ring light here. I have a ring light here. I have another light here and one over there because I've had a little bit of a lighting dilemma. So, I can't really see the camera right now because all I can see is spots in my eyes. Anyway, this week on the Sex Clinic, we are talking a little bit of sex work, but more specifically, we're talking about content creation. Do you face in or do you face out? That is the question. Well, it depends very much on your personal needs. And if you don't know what that means, it means do you show your face or do you not show your face? Okay. So with content creation, obviously a lot of it is sexy stuff, not necessarily, but a lot of it is sexy stuff. And yep, the eye contact, the alluring look in your pics and videos, yeah, it does lure people in. But there are a lot of people who just can't show their face. They might have another job, they might have families, whatever, and they just don't want to be that out in their content creation work. So they don't show their face. I have heard differing reports on what works and what doesn't. Some people say when they've shown their face, because some people, they'll spend some time not showing their face, then their circumstances change, so then they'll come out and they will show their face, yeah? And some people will say it made absolutely no difference whatsoever, and some people will say, yes, it definitely makes a difference. Personally, I think it depends on how good your marketing is. I really do. Yeah, especially, not necessarily just, but especially in fetish and BDSM. I think that a good picture that doesn't necessarily show the dom's face, but is from a dominant perspective and you're looking up to it, however they will present that. They might have their face in shadow, it might literally just be kind of an upshot of the dom's legs, whether they're male or female doesn't matter, and it looks as if you're the submissive looking up. That actually, I think, can be a lot more powerful than showing your face. If you can't show your face, it is what it is. So I think you have to work a little harder with your images. Yeah, so we'll talk about pics first. So with your images, you need to work a little bit harder. Get your head into the mindset of a submissive, not just for BDSM. If you're doing vanilla, same thing. Get your head into the mindset of a client. What are they looking for? Yeah, generally speaking, they're going to look up at you, even if you're just doing vanilla, yeah, because you're in a position of authority and you're flaunting yourself, yeah. If you are selling a particular fetish, or if you're focusing on a particular part of your body that is particularly good, so your breasts, cleavage, biceps, whatever, obviously focus on that, and then get your camera angles right. It will depend on what you're taking a picture of, but generally speaking, again, irrelevant of BDSM, whether you're dominant or not, it doesn't matter. And if you're doing vanilla, generally speaking, a shot from slightly lower just looks better when it comes to body parts. There's just something about subliminally, you've got power over them. And I think personally that can really send some messages to help your content sell, basically. Yeah, I think it's quite useful. Yeah, if obviously you are selling something where you're being slutty, yes, you will probably do it from angle from higher up. You might just have a shot of your mouth open, or liquid in your mouth, or a toy in your mouth, whatever it is, and then blur the rest out. I will just say something to you about pixelation. I wouldn't just pixelate your face, because there are apps now, which is far too easy to do, and online, where you can unpixelate. I wouldn't just pixelate. I would you can do something called healing on some of the photo editing software, something called healing, where you will dab on a place and it doesn't pixelate it, it mixes it all in, and or depending on your settings, it will put it to the colour of whatever it is around it, but make it go blank. I would try that, but not just that. Always double, triple whatever area of yourself that you're trying to cover up. Yeah, so for example, I would put healing. Say I was trying to cover my face, just an example, I put healing on the face, so it looks really very strange. It's just like a big swirl or a blob of skin colour and nothing else, yeah? Then I would also put some kind of image over it. Sometimes you could use picture in picture, so you could heal that, then put a picture of maybe a body part and then whatever else is your main focus. So you've got triple layers on top of that, so it's covering it up if you want to hide your identity that way. But also the byproduct of that is it can make the image look pretty sexy. Picture in picture works pretty well, or double exposure, that's another term for it, yeah, where you can just blend in different images on the one. So for example, again, to cover your face, so you've got your body shot and then you've also got a very subtle image of your nipple or whatever it is in the double exposure. That's just an example. So those are examples of kind of what you would do if you were kind of hiding yourself. Whether you're in or out is entirely down to your need for privacy. If it isn't safe for you to face out, I would strongly suggest you do not fall into temptation, because once it's out there it is quite difficult to take it back. And I would also strongly suggest that you don't fall into kind of the trap of listening to other workers, because their experience is not the same as yours. They might be like, oh well, I came out and it was absolutely fine for me and I thought I'd get into trouble or whatever and I didn't. It might not be the same for you, so I would think very carefully before you do it. The other thing just to remember, I know it sounds like a contradiction, but it isn't. If you do come out and then you suddenly think, oh, I'm not sure I did the right thing, there's nothing stopping you going back in again. I will just say it can be, it's not 100% trying to remove all your images, but you can do it to the best of your ability. But the reason why I'm telling you that is sometimes people come out because they're feeling a little bit overconfident, and then it's like, oh shit, why did I do that? Because they might go and get another job or something like that. So I'm just giving you permission, if you like, if I can be a bit cheeky, to say, actually, if you come out, you can go back in again. It's okay. There are risks. There's always risks. I hope that helps. That is the Sex Clinic this week. For Sexual Health Hub, I'm going to say something very, very naughty. But let's just have some clever graphics first. You're welcome. Okay, so Sexual Health Hub this week. I was chatting to a friend last week, a Grindr hookup. Oh my God, guys, oh my God. He said to me, my sexual health advisor, who is a doctor, is really cool and he's really down to earth. And he says stuff like, oh, have you had much fun recently? Instead of, have you had intercourse in the last 3 months? And I thought, oh, that's good, that's cool, that's right, that's really in everyday language. And then he said, and I told him I hadn't really had much fun because I've got a low sex drive. So he said to him, this is the doctor in sexual health. The doctor said to him, that's what you're on prep for. Get out there and get lots of cock. Okay, so then my friend said, so I went to the sauna and fucked loads of guys. So I'm like, right, okay. Not to reiterate anything I've said about PrEP, and this isn't the issue I'm making. It's nothing to do with PrEP. It's to do with a fucking sexual health doctor saying to him, go out and bareback because you're on PrEP, right? I'm sorry, but what the fuck? Okay, so I said to my friend, I said, is your doctor gay by any chance? And he went, yeah, and he's on PrEP. So I went, right. So I said, let me tell you what's going on there. He's on PrEP and he's having lots of cock. Good for him. But instead of looking at why you've got a low sex drive or assessing medically whether at the moment you need to take PrEP, he is projecting his own behaviour onto you to A, justify you being on PrEP, and B, maybe encourage you to go and have a lot of sex when maybe you just need to be having a break. And my mate went, okay, so I think it's fucking obvious. I've raised this point not in sex clinics that I've done, but I've raised it in articles that I've written, one of which I'll put on the Belle Secrets website, by the way. So I'm just pointing it out, guys. Yeah, we're all human beings. The practitioners that you go and see are human beings. Spot their own repetitive patterns of behaviour, and you will spot this by the terminology that they are using and the attitude that they have to you, okay? Just spot that. I'm a therapist. I have what's called supervision. So I go and see a therapist who is more experienced than me, more qualified than me, more able to look at my repetitive patterns of behaviour so they can point this out to me. That's what that fucking doctor needs, okay? Because he needed to have some balance in the advice he was giving to his patient, and he didn't have that. So I've said this off camera to the Belle's team, actually, because I've been saying, do you know what, this is a bit weird. You've got sexual health advisors giving this advice, and it's like not really advice, it's just them projecting their own behaviour. So interesting, I had this chat last week with my friend, because I thought, oh, I'll mention that in the Sexual Health Hub this week. So all I'm saying is that I'm just pointing it out. They're human beings, but just spot the advice they're giving you. It's not your responsibility to take responsibility for them, but unfortunately, I would advise you to just keep an eye out, because sexual health, as I've said, the advice needs to be balanced, okay? It just needs to be balanced. I don't think it's that difficult. A part of that balance is for us to be aware of our own repetitive patterns of behaviour. And one of my ways of dealing with my own repetitive patterns, and also my own lack of insight or ability into my own, is when I'm advising a client and I've noticed I'm not taking my own advice, I will literally say to the client, oh, need to take my own advice on this one. I think it's really, really important, because that's how we spot ourselves. And if we miss it even more, that's why, as practitioners, we need to go to somebody else so that they can point it out, to point out the stuff that we're missing. I hope that helps. It's wonderful to spend time with you this week, and I will see you next week. Lots of love. Bye for now.